What do you do when overnight a global pandemic plunges the organization you lead into uncertainty? Welcome to the Pivot. Hi, everyone. Jen DeVore here, Civic Impact Manager for the Economy League of Greater Philadelphia. Welcome to the Pivot. This is a new web series from the Economy League's Impact Labs, highlighting innovative organizational pivots happening across the Greater Philadelphia region in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. In a time where the world is upside down, this series is meant to inspire innovation and collaboration as we figure this all out together. Keep in mind, we're recording this in one take using a video conference app, so settle in because we're live. I'd like to welcome today's guest, Ivy Olesh, Executive Director of Playworks. Hi, Ivy, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me, Jen. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's crazy times, as you know, but we're trying to make the most of it. How has been, we'll get into the organization, but just very quickly, how has been the transition from being home every day, all day?
Yeah, it's a lot to juggle. As you know, I have a 9-year-old, as well as, a lot to think about and manage on my plate for work. So, I think I'm in the same boat as a lot of folks out there trying to balance a lot right now. And so, I think that I'm just trying to keep in the front of my mind that we're all in this together and we're just all doing the best that we can every day.
Absolutely. No, I think that's really important to remember. So why don't you tell me a little bit about Playworks and just kind of set the scene for the organization that you run, the job that needs to be done, and what some of your goals are.
Sure. So Playworks is a national nonprofit. We work with schools and youth serving organizations, and our work is really around using play as an educational tool to teach kids the life skills and the social emotional skills that they need to be successful in the classroom, in their communities, and in the workforce eventually. So these are, skills like leadership and conflict resolution and problem solving, but also things like, just ensuring that kids are staying physically active and having fun. So that's our work in general. We either directly serve schools by having staff, coaches, or coordinators at schools, or we train school-based staff or youth-serving organization staff to do the work on their own.
Yeah, no, I think the having fun and the staying physical active, it's important to do year round, but I imagine even now more so. And we can talk about ways that people can do that while we're under stay at home.
Yeah.
So let's just get right into it. How has COVID-19 affected your organization?
Yeah, it's affected us in just about every way imaginable. I think we're, in this situation from a workforce standpoint, right, where we're all working from home. So we're managing that from a staff. But also, we frankly, we can't deliver services. Schools are closed, so we can't be there with the kids in the schools that we serve. Our main source of revenue is actually earned income from the schools that we partner with, and that changed overnight. We, like most nonprofits, had spring events that were planned that just got canceled, and so trying to figure out what that was going to look like and how to account for that from a revenue loss standpoint was really challenging. And so, yeah, we've been in it, I'll say.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. And you mentioned that your source of funding and your livelihood, like, it changed overnight. So like when was that? How early on in all of this did you start to realize that you were going to need to change your plans?
Yeah, it was interesting for us because I mentioned that we're a national organization. Our national headquarters is actually based in Oakland, California.
Oh.
And so we had a little bit of a window, an earlier window into what was happening, because I would say they're probably about a week ahead of where we are over here. And so we started to see schools closing and started to just start to see the impact, I would say, of the COVID-19 crisis unfold. Just from a scope and scale standpoint, at Playworks, we work with over 1.5 million kids every day. And within the matter of days, every single school partner that we had was closed. So we saw very early on and pretty immediately that we needed to change our plans, and we sprung into action really quickly.
Yeah, and I imagine just trying to get a grip and predicament on all the uncertainty just must made it so much more complicated. I mean, it's one thing to have to shift and see this coming, but not knowing to what scale. So how are you guys pivoting? You have to change your path, but the destination is still the same to some degree, and the goals. So what are you guys working on right now?
Yeah. So, I think we all got together as an organization and just stopped to think how can we still ensure that we're staying true to our mission, that kids have access to safe and healthy play every day, and to the benefits of play. And what I've always appreciated about Playworks is that we meet schools where they are, and we work with them to address their specific needs, right? Most of the schools that we work with across the country are Title I schools. They don't have fancy playgrounds and fancy schoolyards. They just are playing on asphalt lots. And we pride ourselves on ensuring that no matter where kids are playing, that they're having access to good play experiences. And so we tried to come at it from that angle. And so we knew we had to rise to the challenge and figure it out. And so because kids were isolated at home, we knew they needed us more than ever. And we knew that, based on our own personal experiences, that family members needed us for their kids more than ever, to make sure that we're feeling socially connected and physically active. And so we developed an online site called Play at Home that includes a lot of different resources for kids and families, including a playbook full of online games that can be played with one or a few people in limited space with few pieces of equipment. That playbook can be viewed online, or it can be printed for kids that don't have access to technology. It's also available in Spanish. We have videos that kids and families can access at any point in time when they just want to play a game together on demand. We also have videos that include language on CDC approved social distancing kind of terminology, so that we try to normalize that language for kids so it doesn't sound so scary and traumatizing, especially once we are back in a more social and less physically distant environment, that the act of playing together isn't quite as scary for kids. And then we're also having virtual recess 3 times a day, Monday through Friday at noon, 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern time on Facebook Live. And that way kids can tune in and stay physically active, see a Playworks coach, and just enjoy and look forward to that time. So that's kind of been our pivot, so to speak.
Yeah, and I'll just add too, like the Facebook Live Playtime is amazing. As a parent myself, we've been using it, and it's just an incredible shift in not just online learning, but online play, to see everything just come up so quickly in the last few weeks. It sounds like you have a pretty comprehensive package that you were able to go live with. What was that like for you and your team to put that all together? Was it stuff that was starting to be in the works anyway, or was it all in response to what's going on in the world?
It was all in response to what was going on, but we have an amazing team. And so everybody came together around this. I mean, we have always made sure that our resources are open source and available to anybody who needed them. So our playbooks were always live and available. We created a social emotional game guide for kids and for schools and families to access whenever they wanted to use it. And so we were able to draw on those resources to create this site. But it really was all in response to the COVID-19 crisis. And it's gotten really good response from people. And so we're continuing to build on it and take feedback from folks and continuing to kind of iterate and innovate.
And do you think that what you're doing now in the moment in real time will affect and change or evolve the organization once we're in the recovery stage of all of this, which we don't even know when that will be?
Yeah, I think it has to. I think that, we have definitely as an organization already shifted to talking about how we are supporting schools for the long term, right?
Yeah.
And I think that includes staying on top of the needs, because we do anticipate that in one way or another, we're going to be dealing with this for a very long time, right? And that schools are going to be thinking about future virtual learning needs, et cetera. And so, a lot of our work, even though we're in the world of play, is around the more systems and structures of play than the actual games itself sometimes. And so, we've already started thinking about how can we do some group management training for online virtual learning. Group management is one of our strongest points, and it's one of our most popular trainings. And so there's a lot that can be adapted for online learning that we can bring to support schools and teachers when they need us. And so we are really thinking about how does this evolve for the future, because I don't think this is going to be a 3 months and we're done.
Yeah. And even when we are done, I mean, just the way we look at things, as you mentioned, the language we use, the language our kids use, we're going to be emerging into that new normal. So that's great that there's some long-term takeaways here. How do you measure your success? How do you know that this is working? I mean, obviously there's certain things you can track, but I'd just love to hear if there's a system in place.
Yeah, it's I'd say we're getting there, right? So we kind of put the cart before the horse, I guess, is the phrase. But we're certainly looking at views and engagement on social media. We're also looking at donations that come from this. As a nonprofit, that's a critical success point. And then really what we're also looking at is how is this driving additional partnerships for us? We've already started talking with some corporate partners who are really interested in this because it's helping their employees as well, as they're juggling having kids at home and trying to work and trying to balance, everything. And so thinking about how is this going to help us developing corporate partners and putting sponsorship packages together, I think that will all be good measures of short and long-term success.
That's great. And then help kind of supplement any losses right now, trying to look at a new way to stay on top. That's great. Ivy, I don't want to take up too much more of your time because I know we're all busy pivoting, but what's something that the viewers at home can do to help Playworks during this transition time as you start to figure out what your new plans are in the state of the world right now?
Yeah. So tune in, check out the Play at Home site. spread the word and donate. And also tell us what you need. We are a very much a feedback-oriented organization, and we can only meet the needs if we know what they are. And so we're here for kids and for their families. And so if there's something you don't see, let us know.
That's great. What do you have any advice? What are some words of wisdom as you're going through your own shift for other people that are watching this in hopes to get inspiration of how to make their own pivot?
Yeah. At Playworks, we always say, try it on. It's one of our kind of group agreements. And it really just means like, give it a try, see what happens, be willing to kind of fail fast, if you will,
yeah.
if that's going to be a thing that happens. And I think that's more important now than ever as we enter a really, kind of unprecedented time. So be willing to innovate and really be willing to listen to what people's needs are right now. As I said, I think, there are a lot of new and emerging needs, and we aren't going to be able to meet them if we don't know what they are.
That's great. Thank you so much, Ivy. We appreciate all that you're doing for us. You can find out more about your organization at playworks.org. And for any parents that are watching at home, you can check out playworks.org/get-involved/play-at-home. The URL's up on the screen now. We are going to continue to talk to leaders from across the region, across sectors, on the ways that they are pivoting throughout this crisis that we're all in. And, as we always say, there's no handbook, there's no playbook right now. So we're trying to figure all of this out together. If you have your own pivot that you would like to share, please reach out to us at pivot@economyleague.org. My name's Jen DeVore, Civic Impact Manager for the Economy League, and this is The Pivot. Thank you so much. Ivy, we'll hope to see you soon, and good luck with everything. Thank you.
Thank you so much.